Ancient beats beneath my feet. Patterns pound and play and pray. Moving with.
Cool. So, I love it. You asked what combo is.
Combo?
So,
Yes.
What's that?
Go for it.
Cool. Are you familiar at all?
No.
Okay. So, combo is probably one of the most interesting things I've come across in my experience as a human being. It's truly a unique and bizarre, I guess you could say, practice. It's likened to a psychedelic, but it's not. I also say it with my Midwest accent. It's spelled Cambo. Some people, when I say Cambo, they're like, Cambo? You can say it in a multitude of ways. The reality is it's not an English word, so it's not pronounced with their English mouths.
Okay.
But it comes from a frog, Philomedusa bicolor, which is from the jungles in South America. And it's a very unique extraction process. They catch the frogs and you stimulate their sides and they release a residue, I guess you could say.
Okay.
But it's very unique in that it is a lot of different peptides. So they are proteins. It's not a drug like some other frogs and animals can make true mind-altering substances. Combo is very unique in the way that it's applied to the lymphatic system specifically. And it is one of the strongest antimicrobial, antiviral, antipathogenic substances that we've come across. So the skin is burned. You can do it in different areas of the body, but it's burned very lightly and the surface of the skin is scraped away. And then they apply the paste, and within about 15 seconds, you will start uncontrollably vomiting and purging.
Okay.
And sometimes in a couple of different ways. It works for about 15 minutes if it's applied properly. And it essentially, you fast beforehand, you drink a lot of water beforehand. There is definitely a kind of a ritual to the way that it is used traditionally. And all of that is very important because otherwise it can be dangerous.
Right.
But essentially your liver and all of your other filtering organs start to dump. So the craziest part about the experience is you're in it, you don't feel good, you're getting sick in a bucket, you're being encouraged to drink more water, and you drink a bunch of water, you puke a bunch of water, you drink a bunch of water, you puke a bunch of water, and then eventually you start puking not water. So your body has now dumped enough stuff into your stomach that you can puke up. For me, it was almost like mustard. It was very, very bitter. It was yellow. It was disgusting.
Straight bile, right?
Yeah. And it also works a lot on the emotions. So letting go of things, purging patterns that do not serve you, purging energies that do not serve you, getting rid of all of the garbage within. And it's normally paired with two other medicines. One is rapé, which is a shamanic snuff. So it has a powdered specific type of tobacco in it. And then also it's paired with different medicinal plant herbs. And it's insufflated, which means that they essentially hold looks like a pipe up to your nose, and they blow it into your face very aggressively.
Okay.
So that also works to purge a lot of emotions because it feels like you got punched on the inside of your face. So not very many things make me angry, but the first time someone did that to me, I felt a lot of anger. And can also be paired with with another plant called tonga that's dripped into the eyes and feels like a mixture between cinnamon oil and gasoline that also helps you clear a lot of emotions.
This is not for the faint of heart or just let's go have fun for the weekend. Not so much.
No, it's really funny. My best friend who I did it with, after we did 12 sessions together, and afterwards he said, we should get t-shirts that say, that sucked, let's do it again.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds a regimen and a half. That's not just a simple journey whatsoever.
Not at all. I really needed it. I was at a point where I was very sick. I had an illness for about a year that really wasn't being recognized by my doctors. I knew that it was pathogenic. I knew that I had already spent a lot of money. And funny enough, my friend was in Costa Rica. He was going through a lot. His wife had just passed. And he called me and he was like, I can't integrate any of this. I don't know how to move forward. He's like, I'm looking for someone essentially to come spend time with me down here. If you want to come, he's like, I have a place to stay. And I was like, I can come if you can find me a good combo practitioner.
Nice.
I was like, I will come because I have my own things that I need to be working on. And so it was a really harmonious and beautiful experience for both of us. The way that he speaks about it now is like very much helped him out of a rut that he was in, and he helped me get to the point where I could be healthy and work again. So
nice.
Yeah.
Just wanted to throw wood out there. Just as far as pathogenic healing capabilities. That wouldn't do it though. Not whatsoever.
Not for what I had. So wormwood works really good against worms. That's why it's called wormwood. It works really well against parasites. Can work well against some other things. But what I had, and if people are interested, I guess I would share the story, because since I've had this happen, I've met other people who've had the same experience, and I've been able to help them because I'm like, I know exactly what you have and this is what you have to do. And now it's more recognized in the United States. Doctors are talking about it more, but it's also like a wildly personal story. So I'm not against sharing it. I just would love to know if people want to hear it before I go down that rabbit hole.
Could be another conversation for sure. I mean, there's always places where people are going to be attracted for their healing to have these kind of conversations. Absolutely. I myself went through an infection that was behind my eye in the bone, right? Basically jaw, orbital socket, inside. Ended up having a surgery and all kinds of stuff, but it took 6 years for it to heal, and it wasn't due to the doctors. It was basically clove. It was, lots of iodine and peroxide and just ridiculous measures until I found wood infused in tea. I want to say that's where the infection was finally overcome, and nothing else could do it. I mean, antibiotics and all that stuff for 5 years just didn't do it, but it did. And I don't know what its aspect of what it did, but I know that it was the end of it finally. It was a transformative thing for me. But back onto the frog. Okay, so I went to my journey this last weekend and did the
Did you?
I did, and this week has been something else. I mean, wow, my work relationships, the people I deal with every day and struggle and strive, family members, everybody. I don't think that they've outwardly said anything to me that there's something different, like you're behaving a little differently. But I am 100% aware that there's something different in my willingness to go too far or not go far at all. It's like my measuring stick is broken anymore. Like I used to hold back too much at sometimes to say things that may harm, and then hold back as well on things that I can help, just being open to people. Sometimes I'd be like, no, I don't want to share my energy. I know you're having a hard time, but that's your problem. But now I'm kind of like, like
Oh,
I could,
you've softened. Do you think that before, when you held back from certain people, that it was maybe your intuition picking up on what the medicine they actually needed? Because not everybody needs the level of support that some of us want to give.
I want to say it's that ego death experience that I encountered through it, that not only am I having these moments of more openness with people and being more, concerned and empathic, which I was already empathic, but I'm more open to being empathic, feeling the empathy with people. But also, I've gone into meetings and just lit everybody up and said things that normally they're like, wow, man, like, whoa, wow. Even my boss is like, are you okay? Like I can tell he's a little worried. And I'm just like, I feel okay with saying it. I'm not too worried with the consequences. It needed to be said. And I'm saying things in an open and very measured manner, not offhand at all. It just feels like there was a release in the measuring that I was doing of both sides. I just kind of let go of it, and I'm expressing, like, no holds barred, good or bad. Whatever needs to come out, coming out.
So this is just in the last couple days then, right?
I want to say it's been since that day. It's been almost a week now.
Okay.
Yeah. So have you encountered
I have not encountered that frog yet. He's on my list of frogs to meet. You don't know this about me, but I'm very obsessed with frogs. I have been my whole life.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I've met a lot of frogs, loved a lot of frogs.
Well, this particular is around everywhere here. It's native to every part of where we live here. And I think everybody recognizes its ability to hibernate. Like, what is it, 30 years or something? I mean, it can go underground and just wait for rain for unimaginable amounts of time in its mucus sac, right? It just sits underground until the rain finally gets down to it, and then it comes up and it's alive again. But something in its essence and its being of being able to just go to the void, in a sense, it's like it is friends with the void in a way that I tell you, I want to say it scared me, but it didn't. It brought me to that I might not be okay right now. I was like, I even asked, I was like, am I okay? It's like, you're safe, you're fine.
Like,
yeah, you're safe, you're fine.
Yeah.
And then I didn't feel that I was, I just cut loose and went into the water and swam around a bit. And I felt like, this might be it. This might be it right now. And quite honestly, there's nothing I can do about it. There's no turning back time, and it's not the first time I've encountered mortality whatsoever. I've accepted it several times, but this experience was more of I accepted it in a way beyond saying I accepted it. And I want to say that's that ego death of, it's okay. It's all right. There's nothing to worry about. And whatever the moment brings is what needs to happen. And it's really not up to me anyway. So might as well just cut it loose. And then, yeah, there was a immediate openness that I've never in my life felt. And that's a whole thing that I've, talked about on my channel of my experience in life and how it's been a little rough on me from childhood up and got me to some places where I definitely had all the reason to be untrusting and shut down. But it opened that. It really changed my perspective of needing to have the shield and the sword. And just was like, I don't even need these anymore. Totally okay. And it's showing. Yeah. So did you have an essence? I mean, it sounds like there is an essence of that with as well then.
Yeah, it's kind of it's not psychedelic. You're really just sick and you're aware for all of it. Except the first one I did, I passed out. So wasn't aware of that, but I also have no recollection of passing out. So it wasn't like I went somewhere.
Okay.
But that, it's, you go through a lot of emotions. I mean, there's getting that level of sick. I think we all have it when we've ever had the flu. Mm-hmm. That moment when you can't stop yourself from getting sick and it's continuing on and you're starting to question, like, is this actually threatening my ability to stay here, my ability to survive? Like, am I going to survive this one?
Right.
Am I ever going to get better? And at the same time, you run through a gamut of emotions. I wouldn't even say, sometimes you can become aware of what specifically you're experiencing. I did it with my younger brother and he got sick and he was like, that was mom and dad. Like, that's all he could say after in
Really?
like his stupor of like needing help, like getting to the bed. He was like, what came out of me was mom and dad. I was like, dude, I get it.
Yeah.
Because much like you, there's a lot of, experiences when we're younger that, at least for me, created like a distrust or just kind of I don't know. Life can be gnarly. Okay. I've heard, so what you did was 5-MeO DMT, and I've heard it described. People say that it's significantly stronger than DMT. So DMT can you're still aware, very aware, and you're in the ego thoughts of fear or like control or like, oh, I don't want to see this. I do want to see this. 5-MeO has been described to me in most cases that you don't typically have a lot of fear because it punches you into the next realm so hard and fast that in a split second you have to make that choice of, am I going to be afraid? And it's gone, and it's like I don't have time to be afraid. I'm in it.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to hear your experience that you did have the fear and you did have that grasping onto something, and then just with a couple of thoughts, the knot loosened, and it's away into the ether, and there's no point, and it's a calm, right? I had an experience like that when I was probably like 8 years old. I almost drowned, and my cousin pulled me out of the water, but I couldn't get myself out of the water. I was stuck underneath something, mm-hmm. and I was panicking. And I had this moment where I finally told myself, I was like, I'm not going to get out of this one. And I was prepared to breathe in water. And the amount of peace that washed over me when I had that experience of being like, just can't get myself out of this one. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. Really kind of set the stage for the rest of my life emotionally. So near death, that level of near-death experience is not a bad thing. It can create a lot of... I still get caught in overthinking and worry way too much about my life. And even sometimes worry about death, even though I know that as it's happening, there's going to be a moment that I'm going to fully relax into it because you don't have another choice.
Right. It comes for us all from the day we're born. Nothing to worry about.
Mm-hmm. That's all of it. It's the only thing that's sure.
Something that I wonder is, I've had several from a young age on throughout life encounters with near death. And what I've noticed is I think there's an aspect of when you've encountered finality young, there's a different relationship with it when it happens, especially as an adult or in the midlife. Of it feels as if everything slows down and becomes clear and you get clarity in those moments where everybody else is getting frantic and energized and they're not sure what to do. And then they look at you and you're just serene. Serenity comes over. Everything's clear. I know exactly what to do, and just do it. And it's okay. What are you worried about? And I want to say that has to do with embracing that spirit. And I want to call it a spirit. That finality is, in essence, a spirit rules that, like how we were talking about the archons, right? Like if there's a special, I guess they would have named them all the different deities that the Greeks would call, who was the boat ferryman?
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. What is his name?
Right now, it's not coming to me either, but
Yeah.
I do know that
He's the keeper of the underworld.
these
14-year-old me in my literature class is so mad at me right now.
Right? But these names that they named all the deities are just that. They're human recognition tools. And
Right.
in reality, they all came about from identifying emotions, I think. That's how we really encounter these things, these essences that we've named, all the angels, the demons, the spirits, and all these things are truly encountered more from a feeling first, just like everything, right?
Right. It's like a personal, relatable archetype to each one. And then I'm sure too, like, to some degree, a tangible entity outside of this space that connects to those feelings. That collective energy has to go somewhere and pool. And I feel like I've read about people on DMT talking about encountering the, essentially the essence of an emotion, like the entity of an emotion. And in that too, you also, I'm realizing we're recording this and I don't have it like on my face to see my face. It should just be my face, right? Should I be zoomed into my face as we're talking?
I mean, that's how I see. That's how I see you. So I'm not sure. I think, yeah, because I just
see most for you.
I see you, right? So isn't that recording you with me small?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay, then yeah, we're good.
Well, we're learning,
right?
Let me see if I can make it cleaner. But anyway, the entity or like collective experience of an emotion. It's also interesting to me that we all have the same emotions. We all have the same
anger.
They come
fear,
from different
sadness.
things, but we're all connected to the same experiences as a human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something that, always got me, alcohol, and then they call it a spirit, right? And, the essence of how it changes you when you partake the spirit in you, its essence affects you. But anger is a spirit, sadness is a spirit. What spirit are you embodying at the time, right? But then the very, very interesting conversation that, you're not only just in a theoretical realm delving into, but professionally, is the imbuing of these essences, these archon powers in an alchemical manner into carbon form as a medicine. We had these conversations before, and that's kind of where this is leading is, spirit is an essence. These feelings and these emotions are spirit, but being cognizant and aware and holding and playing with these spirits, we're also able to wield them and imbue other essences with them, is what you basically, this is what I got from our prior conversation, is part of what you work with. Is that, I don't know if you want to elaborate on that from there.
Yeah, that is something that I do or have done, is try to connect to these, I don't know, like, I mean, that's what you're doing when you're imbibing a medicine with a specific intention. You're reaching out to very specific. I'm sorry, I'm still caught on the cameras. Am I big for you or small for you?
You are big. So you're big, I'm small.
Then I am doing it wrong. Then you need to be big for me. Okay, I got to figure it out now. Sorry.
Okay.
So
I don't know if it's recording it that way, but
it's just going to record my screen. But like I said, I'm still trying to figure this out.
Then you should be big. If you're recording your screen, you should be big.
So I'm small for you and you're big for you?
No, you are big on mine and I'm small. But that's for the viewing. But if you're screen recording, it would be best if you're big and I'm small.
You think so? Okay,
I think so, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Let me see if I can fix it a little bit. Like I said, I've never messed around with FaceTime too much. When I make myself big, I can only see me. It's harder to focus.
That's what we want to see, though, on the recording. You know,
yeah,
I'm already recording me here, and definitely don't want to just see me. That's what I've been doing all this time.
Gotcha.
Right.
Cool. So, yeah, when it comes to energetic medicine, at least the way that I've traditionally done it, which we've talked a little bit about spagyrics, which are alchemical plant extracts. So you're taking essentially the tincture and the part of the tincture that would be traditionally thrown away. You are burning all of the carbon out of it, and you are just left with the mineral backbone. And then you crystallize those minerals. And as you crystallize them, typically you set an intention, because the energy in the environment in which a crystal grows creates a lot of the lattice structure. And even if you don't necessarily subscribe to Emoto and the belief that like you can speak specific words and change the crystal structure of water or any crystal, they still do this in labs, and like the environment very much changes the way that a crystal creates its own structure, even in the Western world. And we use like perfect crystalline growth for purification of substances, specifically like drugs. It's called recrystallization. Mm-hmm. And so they do that by creating essentially the most perfect environment for a crystal in which it can form very slowly, and as its lattice packs and packs and packs away, it pushes out impurities. You end up with a very pure crystal of something. So as you're creating the environment, though, that a crystal is growing in, you can energetically change the space to reflect the way that the crystal grows. And we call this like an imbibing an intention into a crystal. And then with spagyrics, you take that crystal and you put it back into the original tincture. And this is a great part of alchemy and the belief that creating that medicine is more well-rounded. It has all of the pieces and parts of the plant put into it, and it creates a more well-rounded profile when it comes to working on emotions and the energy within the human body. Lots of people are familiar with homeopathics. Homeopathics are a relatively newer thing. They're only like 200 to 300 years old. But essentially, homeopathics are they are like salts or essences of salts, and are kind of similar to the crystalline aspect of spagyrics.
Right. And I would just want to say it is not science fiction or some spiritual voodoo. It is science fact at this point. They've proven it through speaking different intentions and emotions into freezing water. And they have documented the different crystalline functions or forms and shapes that are born of it just changing from liquid to actual ice, and the crystals will grow very absurdly when you're speaking ill, and in very symmetrical and beautiful patterns when imbuing it with good and beautiful energy. It's documented at this point.
Yeah, they have done a good job of documenting it. And they've done the same with plants, that if you speak kindly to plants, they grow better than plants who are spoken not kindly to. That there are very good studies for that as well. Hi, buddy. So creating these, I mean, we all know a child in a positive environment does better than a child in a negative environment. This shouldn't be some surprising find or discovery. But there's a lot of conjecture in the science world.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've had a lot of fun working with that and creating a level of presence and focus where my energy can create that space for a crystal, so that it can essentially become its highest and best version of itself, much like really good parents try to do the same for their children.
Right. Yeah, fostering with energy. And that's the part that really interested me in the initial conversation is, I am admittedly new to alchemy in all its many, many facets. I have a pretty rudimentary start on it, but at the same time, I can see the different lines of the mental and the physical parts of it all tying in together. Like it's spoken of in metaphors and in, symbols that are, decoded in a sense through intuition a lot of ways. I don't know that it's an outward expression to the world in its being. It's sort of hidden in a lot of ways in how it's expressed, right? As if you really have to delve in it to know. You're not going to just discover it.
Transcendental alchemy specifically?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a really great quote I read a long time ago, and it was something to the effect of, it's really unfortunate that alchemy has only been recorded in riddles. And everything connects to these big psychological concepts that we all very well understand. But much like we were talking about my necklace, and things connect to each other in this space, and different things and patterns mimic each other all across the experience of this world. Alchemy is the same between the lesser circulation, the greater circulation, and transcendental alchemy. So yeah, transcendental alchemy is like the alchemy of life, the alchemy of our emotions, how we move through life, how different. There's essentially like patterns or archetypes that like all of these situations are going to kind of end up generally going the same, because it's just the way that the way that our brains work, the way that our psychology works, the way that we're designed to function. Mm-hmm. And then it's really cool because the spagyrics, which are either the greater or lesser circulation. We talked about this and I never looked it up. I can't remember which one it is. The creation of spagyrics is the transformation of plants into medicine. So plants being very simple, rudimentary, into their highest form for giving and helping. Transcendental alchemy is the same. It's humans essentially reaching their highest form, getting out of their own way and out of their own patterns and out of their own garbage. Mm-hmm. And then the additional circulation is lead into gold. So taking something that is tangibly, to some degree, I don't want to say lead is not valuable, because it is in this world. We use it for a lot of different things. Right. But gold is obviously so much more valuable than lead is, and it's more rare to find. And it's also so unique, being the color that it is and having the properties that it does. So, and as I told you before, one of the coolest things I've learned about alchemy is that you follow the path of transcendental alchemy, and to follow the path of alchemy between the greater and the lesser circulation. The point is to create and figure out how to turn lead into gold so you can reach financial freedom, so that you can create medicine from plants for people who typically can't afford it. It's like your needs are met, and then you can help other people. Put your mask on before you put on others on the airplane.
Right. Yeah. If you're just doing for yourself, then Spirit's not going to be kind to you to help you and usher you along a greater, more fulfilled path. You're just going to encounter more obstacles until you learn your lessons.
Totally.
And that's something that's where I'm kind of coming along in an intuitive way along the same path, I think, is, we learn these lessons in Bible school and from our grandparents and stuff. They teach us all these things, but no one really can teach you the true integration of it in your soul, because that is a very personal and unexpressionable. You can't explain the real essence of the things that the soul goes through in words, because it's the dream world, and what it's capable of knowing and being and experiencing are intangible to the physical body. I want to say that's why when we're having our dreams and we're very dream body oriented, you end up being kind of not very well understood in this world, right? Because you can't infuse the two very well. But then when you start to be able to, that seems to me to be kind of the essence of being a human, is that bonding between the dream self and the physical self, in essence. And that's always how I've looked at alchemy, is getting to the point of the merger where you're in between, you're in the middle of the two, being both, in essence, the shadow and the light, not really favoring either.
Yeah, there is something to be said for the balance, and a lot of it is awareness. So your shadows don't have to be, you just need balance and everything. And you can't have balance if you don't have awareness of what you're doing, or if you're in a shadow.
Yeah, and that goes into a lot of the looking at diving into plant medicines and medicines as dark. There was a whole time when any of that kind of stuff would be deemed witchcraft, and you'd come into some serious problems all of a sudden. And that whole aspect is still, I want to say, placed on that world by the greater society in a lot of ways. But there's an awakening happening where people, especially soldiers coming back from the wars and having these, I can't relate to society anymore, and I don't know where I fit, and how can I become okay with me again. And me personally, after having my experience, and I'm going to be having conversations with some people actually from that world, that these medicines are kind of in the direction of being able to help those situations become overcomable, right?
Totally. It's funny that you mentioned all that, because today that's what I was writing. The part of the course that I'm doing, that I was writing, was the exact order of what you said. I was like writing about how it's not been widely accepted. Now we're having a huge renaissance, awakening, right? It's now a buzzword. It's being prescribed. People are talking about it. And the reason why that's happening is because in this modern world where we can solve any problem, we still have unsolvable problems. And so now we're referring back to some of the oldest traditions on this planet, which I'm reading a great book right now called The Immortality Key. And it essentially details a lot of the history of psychedelics and their use, especially pre-organized religion and pre-Catholic Church, and the belief and understanding that we had access to a lot of these things, and they also highly influenced religion. And then a lot of these texts where they were essentially talking about it or discussing it,
right,
either have passages missing or entire text. I mean, there's entire plays that are missing. There's all sorts of stuff. It's funny. They were talking about, this drink that created enlightenment, right? And then they're missing like the whole passage of what the drink was.
right.
So we don't know what we're missing out on or what people were consuming. But a drink that causes enlightenment to me sounds like a psychedelic. And they're like, the church was like, no, it was, it's a sacrament. It's like the blood of Christ. And no matter what you want to believe or what you believe in, the reality is history that's been written and translated so many times has very many lost things.
Oh.
But it's really funny that you bring that up, because I was writing about all of that today, and in that exact order is how my mind was also processing it. But yeah, we're coming back to psychedelics because we still have depression and PTSD and lots of unsolvable things in our modern life that we're not getting good answers for. People have tried the Western ways of SSRIs and otherwise, and they're still miserable. So we got to find something.
Well, they did not leave out the frankincense and the myrrh. They just made it seem like there were decorations.
Right. Yeah, they have no medicinal use.
Right, exactly. But you can't obtain it.
Yeah.
Sorry, not legally.
Right.
I think you can, but not the true form. Right?
The true form of what?
Frankincense.
Oh, maybe not. So there's different, maybe I might be wrong, but I think there's a couple of different trees it can come from, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the frankincense and the myrrh, as I understood, is the incense actually had a effect on the people who were around in the smoke. Were actually having experiences from it.
Have you ever taken straight oil?
No.
Oh, it kind of gets you lit.
I've heard, but I've never actually partaken.
Yeah, that and iba, which is also you can get as an essential oil. But yeah, I remember I went to a women's retreat, and we were going down to the river, and I kind of wanted something, but I didn't want to. I spend a lot of my time sober, and so I was like, I want something, but I don't want it to be a glass of wine. I don't want it to be a joint. I'm like, none of that sounds good. And my friend was like, have you ever oil? And I was like, no. And she was like, oh, you should try it. She's like, here, take, I think it was 6 drops, 4 drops, something like that. She's like, hold it under your tongue. And I was like, what does it do? As it's under my tongue. And she's like, it makes the veil thin. And that is the best description that I've ever had of it. And I'm so glad that she was able to so succinctly put it together, because I just felt open. So super high in beta-caryophyllene,
Okay.
which is a terpene. And so when people talk about the entourage effect with marijuana, they're like, oh yeah, it changes the way that the THC works in your brain. And that's what can create the difference between a sativa and an indica. And to some degree, this is still a little bit debated.
Mm-hmm.
We don't actually really fully understand all of the neurochemistry of it. But boy, was I open. I felt connected to everything. I was aware of everything. My heart felt very open. Everything kind of, for a moment, made a lot of sense in my life. And again, just like my necklace, I felt very connected to everything around me and very aware of my place in the fabric here. And this was really interesting. I had a protocol from a doctor to put it on my gums at night. And the first time I tried it, I was like, oh my gosh, I am having an experience. That being said, also making spagyrics for years, I've highly sensitized my body. I don't need a lot of anything to really feel something. I'm very aware of most things that come into my system.
You have a baseline.
What's that?
You have a good baseline.
Right. So don't go out and buy it and expect to be like zooted like you took a 30 milligram edible. It's not going to be like that. But to change and shift your perception or open you up or make you have like quite a different experience as you're like, you know, thinking in your head at the end of the day, that's kind of what it created for me. And I had 2 other people try it and they agreed. And it might have been the oil that I had, that it was a higher quality or something, but they both were like, oh, I'm like, I feel it. I'm a little toasty right now.
Definite. So that makes sense. But what was the other one that you said after?
And I think also, but I don't want to misspeak on that. So I can't remember. I think one of my bottles, but I know for sure, and I can't remember if there's like I can't recall. So.
But do you have any word on?
Honestly, I haven't used too much for stuff. It's very sticky. And because of that, I don't tend to like put it in a lot of things that I use. It usually glues itself shut in every bottle I've ever had of it, and it just kind of sits there.
Okay.
So not personally a plant that I have felt incredibly drawn to. But that being said, it does have very amazing medicinal qualities. It's just a lot stickier and tackier and hard to utilize. Like it'll make you feel very sticky on your skin. If you put it on your wrist, it like stays sticky for a while. So
it's more topical.
Yeah, I personally though I wouldn't recommend ingesting that one. I don't know. Also with the other 2, and there was actually a study a long time ago that I read when I was probably like 13. They were having people smoke and for depression, and it was effective, which is very cool. But again, this is like the entourage effect. It's changing the way that your brain uses other neurochemicals. At least that's the theory.
See, that's what I had heard was the were burned together because it did cause a serene feeling. And that's exactly what the church was looking for, to build their congregation. So they would burn it in mass in the buildings to bring people in, and people would get in and feel fantastic and keep coming back.
Yeah. I might pick up some books now and see if I can, because I have a whole setup for burning lots of different tree resins and things that I've collected. So perhaps I'll collect some and see how it feels. Report back.
When you talk about tree resins, just one that, you know, I've heard over and over from natives, just has so many different standard practical usage, is pine sap, right? Mm-hmm. Many healing abilities and many practical usage as well. But any spiritual usage?
Personally, so I'm from Michigan, so I would go and collect it from the trees and burn it, and I definitely think it creates that kind of serene, grounded sort of effect. It really, to some degree, is like the lifeblood of a tree. It's also like the immune system of the tree.
Right.
It's also, again, a crystal, which is super cool. So... honestly, pine, like there's so many different kinds. There's so many different uses for it. I've had so much experience with pine just because it is one of the most common trees in Michigan, and that's where I got a lot of my education in the plants. I'm trying to think of what I took white pine bark for. It was some emotional thing. But I don't know. I just love the energy of pine trees in general. They're amazing. They're some of the tallest. They grow nice and slow, and they just are kind of the keepers of the forest. At least in Michigan, we have so many big pine trees. We even have like some areas where they haven't been cut at all. And yeah, I mean, as far as the resin goes, any resin is good for, it's like the immune system of the tree, right? It's meant to like push out pathogens. So anything pathogenic in your own body, or like a drawing effect. I had a friend who got stung by a wasp or maybe a hornet, and he started to have an allergic reaction to it. We were very far out in the middle of the woods, and there's balsam everywhere. And so he was freaking out because he was like, I've never seen my body react like this to a sting. He's like, I don't know how far this is going to go. I don't know what's going to happen. And he was like, we're way too far out to get me back before we could do anything about it. And whether it's placebo or not, I looked at him and I told him, you're going to be totally fine. I was like, I have something that's going to help you. And everything in me was like, go get the balsam sap and use it to draw. And balsam sap, we call them pimple trees. So they have like a bunch of little bumps all over the tree.
Right.
They're kind of shaped a little bit like this. And you can get your thumb on them and press, and they'll shoot like sometimes 10 feet out of the tree. And it's a runny sap. And it smells so good. Oh my gosh. Like all the trees smell different. So that was one of my favorite things. Don't get it on your clothes. It'll absolutely ruin your clothes. That was one of my favorite things, was collecting the sap and seeing what smelled different. And I love to use it as a fire starter. So I used to have like a little jar of it. I'd like milk the tree and like collect it in a jar. Very flammable.
Yeah.
But they all smell different. Some are more piney, some are more mango-y, some are like super flowery. But anyway, I collected it and I put it on his side, and I was like, this is going to help like draw everything out. I was like, you're going to be totally fine. I was like, we're going to do a little meditation. So we sat, I was like, there's no point in running for the car. We're not going to make it. And you're just going to adrenalize yourself further.
Right.
So we did a little meditation, and it was the craziest thing. For the next like 3 weeks, he had a lump on his back that was like this, and it was rock hard. It was like his body encapsulated it, and it took so long for his body to metabolize all of it. But it stopped his reaction, which was occurring like very quickly at the time. So I would always obviously recommend getting access to an EpiPen or having one on you, or not having a situation like that happen. But in that moment, that's all we had. And I was like, whether it's placebo or not, I was like, I'm going to convince you that you're going to be fine and we're going to get through this.
Well, I definitely had some, a little bit of studies on trees as far as their existence being further in dimensional aspects than ours. Like they have a fifth dimensional aspect where we're kind of stopped at the fourth, right? But they're embodying a anti-gravity essence within them. That's why they're reaching out. They're trying to sort of lift off a little bit all the time. And they're grounded as well in the root base. I've always had this thought that the essence and the spirit of the tree is, in a way, trying to float off into space at the same time that it's staying grounded. But in it has, in its sap, I think, that essence as well of a extra dimensional capability in it. I don't know if that's all plants or just trees. Probably all plants.
I think plants have a different, excuse me, I've heard it talked about when people have like, I think I've heard about it with like Ebola, where people have like a consciousness-like experience where they remember a time when they were a plant, or get to experience the feeling of being a plant, or being something that's that level of what we see like sentience. Right. There's a long time when people were like, oh, plants like don't have intelligence. They aren't smart. Now we've proven that plants can count. that plants will connect to other plants under the ground through the mycelial networks,
right,
and allocate their nutrients specifically first to the plants that are the most genetically similar to them. So literally their family members.
yes.
I think they have to have some level of intelligence that, you know, in modern society, we see it as like, if it's not a human type of intelligence, or it doesn't make direct sense to humans immediately, then it's stupid, or it doesn't know, or it doesn't have intelligence. And the reality that we're learning is that plants are a whole other level of intelligence. And I would argue to some degree more intelligent, because they know how to live and how to do life without ruining their environment. And therefore, I would say that they're more intelligent than human beings.
I have a sense that they bring experience to them because they can't travel. So they have a way of bringing experience to them. They draw it to them. I had a whole thought process of, why did the rose grow thorns? Was it because it wanted blood? Or did it want to reach into essence of other things and experience the inside of them? And it drew them in by creating fragrance and beauty to draw them close, but then yet evolved a thorn with which to reach inside.
I like that. That's so cool. Because in botany classes, it's like the most logical explanations. But I think that there is something to that, especially when you look at like the energetic essence of a rose. I mean, they say it has like the highest frequency of any flower. And it's like, it's the symbol of love, right? And there's so many parallels you can draw between love, connection, penetration, right?
Right.
As far as intimacy goes, but also like, yeah, the penetration of skin with a rose thorn. It's like, I love that. I think that falls in line very much with the energetic essence of what a rose really is.
I have to grab my charger real quick.
Go for it.
So I did remember Chiron. Is that the name?
It might be one, because he has multiple names, doesn't he?
I think so, for the Greeks and the Egyptians, and
yeah.
But I think
that
Chiron was the name.
Specifically doesn't ring a bell, but I cannot remember. It'll come to me after, or I'll have to Google it.
Right.
I'm always like, it's on the tip of my tongue, and it sounds familiar when I look it up, but once I can't come up with a word, my brain usually blocks it pretty hard.
Yeah, I let it go, and then Chiron popped up, and I think
that's one of them.
That might be one of them.
Names.
Maybe, might be. But yeah, the rose also being a symbol from all the old school, spiritual practices of the esoterics of, the rose is given to the graduate to basically say that you have ascended to that point of knowledge and growth of the fruit that is now blooming, and that essence of shared and reaching out from that growth. It's the symbol, I think, that's shown in a lot of places, and that's what made me look at it so deeply to ask why. Every rose has its thorn, but why? But then several plants, bougainvilleas and living in the desert, there's everything has spines on it out here. And that's wonder has occurred to me as well, as why is everything so spiny out here in the desert? And the desert is also one of those places where that spirit lives, that spirit of dreamy, ethereal, it's the land of the lizards and the snakes and the reptiles, who are all very much of the dream world. They're the keepers of that essence in a lot of ways. And that's something that, I've grown up with. I've always been very more attracted to the dream world than I ever was to the physical world. I was never very interested in the physical world at all. And I definitely appreciate it more these days, having children and having a life where I'm responsible for other people's lives. But that in turn just turns into putting the two together in my older years of taking that love of the dream world and tying it to my newfound appreciation for life in the physical realm. And I bring all that up because I see that sort of as the essence of its merger effect is what I kind of want to call it. It felt like a merger between the part of me that always knew it's okay, because there is an everlasting essence that is untouchable. No matter what, it will always be okay.
It's funny how we can live our whole lives without ever really feeling that feeling until death comes. And then when that feeling comes, it feels so natural and like second nature. Like you said, like it's always been there. It's always been accessible. We were just so caught up in the game that we couldn't see it.
Right.
Or feel it. And nothing ever provoked it out of us unless you have an experience like what I had or an experience like what you had.
Yeah. Definitely.
It has to be drawn out of you. It's not something that you could dream up, right?
No. And it's not either something that you can easily seek, not safely. And I would certainly never ask anybody, or I would encourage people not to, because it definitely takes a practiced hand to safely do anything that takes you outside of your normal practices or awareness, because there are dangers to anything that's basically psychologically, it can be, without the proper setting and mind state. You can actually cause psychological or psychotic breaks or things like that if you're doing things for the wrong reasons. That's where guided by spirit is, I think, really important.
Totally. That's another thing that I was writing about today. I wrote that part of the course where, like, it's a psychedelics 101 course. As much as I would love to be like, yeah, these are safe, that I can't say they're not safe, because it's completely situation dependent. In certain great conditions, with the right situation, the right body, the right mind, they absolutely can be safe. And given all of those things inversed or reversed, they can be incredibly dangerous to yourself, those around you. So that's going to be a big part of the course, is walking people through, like, is this a good decision for you to make based on what you're given? And a lot of risk versus reward too. So you have to look at why you want to do it.
Right.
I've talked with a lot of people who have made it till relatively late in life without experimenting. And I would argue that there's more risk at that point. You have a family, you have people who you have to take care of. You maybe have a job that you could lose if things don't go well and you don't stay grounded, or otherwise. Whereas some of us who are a little psychonautic, 18, 20, sometimes even younger, whatever it is. And then we have this experience, but you're young, you know, you don't have, you can definitely still mess yourself up. I'm not arguing it's safer in any way, but at least you kind of know what you're working with to some degree. But yeah, I can't say that they're safe because it's completely dependent. It's much like sitting down with a doctor. If they give you the wrong prescription, it could very much hurt you. But if they give you the right prescription, it could maybe help, maybe sometimes. So figuring out what's right for you, where you're at mentally, if your body feels like it can sustain it. And then also, yeah, why are you doing this? What's making you seek this? Is it something like I had where innately my entire life I was like, I'm going to become an adult and I'm going to do this stuff? Or have you hit a point in your life where you have disease or, you know, emotional dysregulation, or you've hit a point where you want things to change, or you feel called to it at a certain age?
Right. And that's
what made you decide that this was the time to.
For me personally, it was a double whammy. You know, from our initial conversations that I was having, I already felt, because I do move very much on intuition and spirit. That's why I keep pulling up these things that you just wrote today. I have a little psychic twinkle-ish thing going on, and always have. And it just comes up through conversation that I can start pulling up things. And it is very common to have conversations, and I was just thinking that, or I was about to say that, or that happens all the time. Okay. But it isn't in any way something that I'm going to say, oh, yeah, I have this ability or whatever. I just feel that I'm open to spirit, and spirit is something that I listen to. It's just following emotion or something like that. And that's how I've seen psychic abilities, is it's listening to intuition. It's not like words. It's a feeling that you decode and figure out, right? So I felt already like there was a purpose behind the conversations beyond just filming, and I knew it was headed somewhere. And as soon as I understood what they were doing, I was like, well, I know there's no way that I'm going to get into this and not know what I'm talking about. That's not real. You know, how am I going to have these conversations with people about something that I've never experienced, or be a part of ceremonies with people and not know what they're going through? That's not real. And I'm a doer. I'm going to do, you know, and I didn't seek, though. That's the thing. I don't believe in hunting for experiences or doing things because I feel like it. It happens upon the path, and then, oh, well, this is what we're doing today.
Yep, I'm the exact same way.
And that's how it happened. It was just surprise, like, yes, time, place, everything lined up. And I'm like, yep, perfect, go, let's go. And
I love.
Yeah, it was just meant to happen that way. And it did. And that's part of the way that I see things, is it not going bad, is when you're following your heart and you know it's good and you know it's the right thing. That is spirit. And that goes back to our initial conversation of spirits and energy and, you know, anger and fear and all these things being spirits. Is I was in such a good place when it all happened. I knew it was right, and I knew it couldn't go wrong. And that's, even though I had that fear and that encountering the mortality moment, and it was very intense, I knew in a way that it was transmuting. What was happening is there was a transmutation going on. And the weird thing is, our initial conversation that we had, I brought up the black nightshade, and you told me, well, black nightshade, it causes a death, but it's not the poisonous death. It's a shadow aspect death. And I talked about that right after. I was like, what's really strange is I ate black nightshade berries this morning. So I knew when it started coming on and I started having that fear, I knew that it was a transmutation fear and that everything was going to work out, because this is all in line with what was supposed to happen today. So I knew, as bad as it felt or as weary as I felt in the moment, that it was going to be all right, and I just wasn't worried. And then it was okay.
I love that. That's like the mastery that, you know, you're trying to get to. And one of the things that I'd love to cover in my course, I obviously don't stand a chance of getting everybody to a certain level of emotional mastery, but to have the thoughts and feel the fears and be able to get yourself to a point of awareness where you can let go, and kind of isolate the thoughts instead of letting them overcome you and become you in that moment. So I think you were definitely at the right place on the path to reach that level of, essentially you cleared it really fast. You cleared the stuck, the cycle, the fear, right?
Yes. It was, as I told the guy, I told him, hey, it was a Dune moment. It just came to me. I was like, taking the essence of the worm. That's what it felt like. And many have tried and many have died, but fear is the mind killer. And just not allowing that fear to take hold, knowing what it is, and then knowing what to do with it in that moment, that it is just like anything else. It's an energy, and it can be used. It doesn't have to be something that you have to overcome. You can actually use it when you embody it the right way.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so cool. How long would you say your entire experience was?
I'd say that about 10 minutes or so, because it was very, very intense for the first 5-6 minutes or so. It was pretty intense. And then I had a whole kind of a debriefing session where I was just going through what had happened, and then I was just watching the sky, and I saw a lattice work in the sky of like black and blue hatch pattern, where it was like I was seeing space and the sky at the same time in a pattern, and like seeing through the blue light and seeing the blue light at the same time, like seeing the reflection and seeing the void, both. And the energy that was connecting the two was waning a little bit. It's kind of like water, like rippling water in the sky. And just had some real emotional downloads about feeling how, you know, one of my main fears was always my children, how they would cope in life without me when I die. How are they going to do when I'm gone? And how important it has been to me for quite many years to prepare them for that, so that when I'm gone, that they will be able to stand on their own and not be like, where's my dad? Or I need him, or what am I going to do with this? To be able to act without fear. And that's been a big thing for me, is teaching my children to be fearless in a warrior sense. But then that has been so much of who I've been. I didn't get enough of the softness in there. And that's part of what broke. Was I feel more capable of being huggy and nice and, oh, you know, you look pretty today kind of thing, where I would never say that. Never. Like, you want to feel good about yourself? Tell yourself something nice. I was kind of just, in a harsh way, very bland and, you know, gray in a lot of ways, where now I feel more spectrum.
I love that.
Very cool.
How does that feel, looking back at how you've been your whole life now and seeing how things are different, like through your new lens?
So that was one of the things that I did. I did put a video up. I did a little poem, a middle explanation, and then a more analytical download of the whole thing. And it really felt like stone thrown in the pond. And the effect, my new perspective, went to the past and the future from the moment. And I knew everything from back then to everything that will be from a different perspective, in a sense. Like time isn't linear, right? It's everything's now. And because everything's now, everything's affected from the now. So who you are now goes all the way back and all the way forward. So in essence, it changed how I view my past and how I'll always see everything in the future from that moment.
Oh,
And I knew it right then. I told dude, I was like, bro, you are literally experiencing a different me than I have ever been. And I am seeing you different than I have ever seen any other human in my life. And I'm going to call you brother because I've never told anybody that they're my brother and meant it ever. And you're my brother. And he was like, I could tell he was holding it together because it's his thing. But at the same time, he was like, wow, this is kind of intense. I was like, it is intense, dude. It really is, because I've never been open enough to be like, I trust you. I'm always like, I don't trust anybody. And now I'm like, I actually can put my guard down and say, I trust you, and that's completely different perspective.
it's huge.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I read in the Immortality Key, he talks about drinking, and he like the entity that he like sees as is like this serpent snake, and it's got him all wrapped up, and it's like staring into his eyes and telling him like, you can be a lot nicer to people. Like, you don't have to have such an edge. You can be sweet, and there's space and room for you to be sweet. And that's essentially like what you should take away from this is like, go back to the real world, being nicer to people than you have been in your past. And it's funny to me that this is such a theme. There's a natural softening propensity towards love from these substances. And like you said earlier, there's a light side and a shadow side. I already have that written in my outline. Like, that's going to be a whole section of the course is light and shadow, because you can have the most, terrifying, horrifying experience and not really be given a good reason as to why. I've had some of those definitely in my experiences.
Right.
But for the most part, there seems to be this very clear, you get the medicine that you need and the message that you need when you need it. And the capacity to teach like this love and this new way of being is so effective.
But then there's also the other aspect. Like I was saying at work, I have a couple petty tyrants that I would give more leeway than they were due, I think.
Right.
Because I didn't see that it was really my place to put them in their place. It was like, I can, but why? Let them be them. Who cares? But this week, I have encountered them and been very, not confrontational, but revealing, very mirroring, like, look at you. Let me show you how you're and they're like, we've had some sit down by ourselves moments and had conversations that they have initiated. They want to go have a private conversation, and they listen to me go on, and they're like, I greatly respect you, and I think that this and that and da-da-da, and I'm glad that we were able to open up and have these conversations. I'm like, wow, who knew that even letting the negative stuff go would be healing, not just for me, but for them too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes people do best with that direct medicine,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Didn't expect that. But with that being said, I think we've had a very long first chat.
We have.
We're pretty good for the day.
Yeah. can be. I definitely have to get up a little bit early for work, so my hard cutoff is going to be like 9. We're pretty close to that.
Yeah, I think we've done really well. We've gotten a lot of good energy and good concepts in. Definitely.
Yeah, totally. This is super fun. It just feels like I'm chatting with a friend, which makes it really enjoyable and easy.
Heck yeah.
So,
me too.
Yeah.
Well, I know that
I'm glad I found you. That's so cool.
You know a lot of things that I'm interested in, and I'm definitely a learner. I like to learn about what I don't know, and alchemy is definitely one of those subjects that I'm highly interested in. So definitely look forward to more chats and where all this goes as far as the forming of this group that's forming, because I'm meeting so far with I think 5 people, and I'm hoping that everybody gets to know each other sort of through the channel, so everybody can watch everybody and get to see everyone that Andrew's basically saying, here, talk to him, he's going to interview him, and then put a video up. And I think he's forming a group in a sense of people that will be able to meet and sooner or later become some sort of group.
I love it.
Not sure how that works.
Yeah.
But who cares about knowing?
What's that?
I said, who cares about knowing? Just, it's happening. I don't know what's happening, but something is.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's something so cool about that, just creating a lot of, a lot of new connections and seeing where it goes. And I feel like they're good organizers. And you're, diligent about putting content up and getting things out there. And I've been pretty dedicated so far to building this course. So I think we have a lot of cool things coming in the future. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely not all figured out right now, but that's part of creating something. Sometimes building a piece of art, like you have no idea what it's going to look like until the finishing touches. You kind of figure it out.
So maybe that's a good place to start on the next discussion, which we can figure it out when that will be another day. Yeah. But is what this course is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I have my whole outline, Psychedelics 101, but the outline is not rigid. So, I've been reading a ton and getting a lot of new, just materials together, things to put into it. I have a lot of what I want to talk about figured out, but I'm going to make it as grounded and connected to research and what we've learned and case studies and human experience. And I have yet to figure out the length and duration, because I'm building the outline and I'm like, cool, this is what I'll talk about in class 1. But I'm like, I could talk about that for 4 hours. So we'll see.
Right.
So, but yeah.
Very cool.
Diligently working on it and creating it. And thank you so much for your time tonight, Elton.
Absolutely.
I had a blast chatting with you.
Great talking with you, Josie. You have a good night.
Absolutely. Yeah, you too.
Josie. The alchemist.
Yeah, she's a legitimate alchemist, chemist, really.
I think I might.
She's creating a course. And I mean, I've got a lot of people that I'm talking to and interviewing, from like practitioners to servers to people who have land, people who have just experience, and people that want to have like a place that the retreat can actually happen at, people who are licensed, medicine men who any place that they serve is, everything that they serve is legal and ordained to have this. I'm like, there's just so many different connections all happening at once. Mm-hmm. And let me go ahead and stop the live stream, because that was awesome. Signing off.
Oh. Could hear me, huh? Just sit down. Come here. Here's the baby. Here's the boy.